Hi everyone, welcome to day 2 of the 2025 eShopperReviews Game Awards, where we look at the best and worst games released on Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2 in 2025. I'm Jen Ip,
And I'm Jake McNeil.
and today's awards, the technical awards, are all about graphics, sound, writing, story, and characters.
Yeah, pretty much every element that goes into a game other than the gameplay itself.
And we will start with the best music. And this one is usually a tough one for you.
Yeah, best music and best song are usually really tough for me. I think best music was easier for me to pare it down to a final 6, but I went back and forth between what I felt were the top 2 before deciding on a winner.
All right, so what are the runners up?
The runners up for best music on Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2 in 2025 are Momodora Moonlit Farewell by NK, Symphonia by Olivier Esman, Alexandre Boucas-Français, and Lou Corroyer. Donkey Kong Bonanza by Naoto Kubo, Daisuke Matsuoka, Reika Nakai, Yuri Goto, and Tsukasa Usui. Next up is Mario Kart World by Atsuko Asai, Maasa Miyoshi, Takuhiro Honda, and Yutaro Takakua. And the final runner-up is Atelier Yumiya, The Alchemist of Memories and the Envisioned Land by Akiyuki Tateyama, Kujira Yumemi, Kazuki Yanagawa, Shinichiro Nakamura, Kazuki Sakai, Shiki, Shachi Sumugi, and Keiichi Osawa.
As you can tell, I very much love the traditional symphonic stuff.
Well, I do too. This is one that came very close to winning it. I almost gave it to this one.
Okay. And the winner?
The winner is Hollow Knight Silk Song by Christopher Larkin.
Not bad.
Yeah, usually when I'm doing the best music rather than best song, I have to pick something that's representative of the soundtrack as far as I can tell, and also not mirror the choices for best song because some of these are going to be coming up again. So with Hollow Knight Silk Song, the characters are kind of a little cartoony, and it might be easy to look at this game's visuals at a glance You wouldn't necessarily think that it's going to have this great depth to it, but the kind of music that they have here has some really quiet, somber themes with harp, violin, piano, just very subtle melodies that are kind of going into this dark, sad place that they're in. And then at the same time, you also have these stirring choral pieces with like a full men's choir during the battle, and everything just makes the entire game sound so epic. I think it really lends to the tone that this game has and makes it something just bigger than it would have been without it. I think the music really makes this game something powerful.
All right. Next up is Best Song.
I hated cutting this down to just 6 songs. I have to because that is the limit I've set for myself, but I could have easily done the best 9 songs or the best 11 songs. There were so many really good, memorable songs this year.
All right. So, what are the runners up?
So the runners up for best song are Yamacrest by Bulin and Francisco Cerda, I'm not sure the pronunciation, sorry, and Martin Scholler from Fast Fusion.
It's okay. It's not for me.
I don't know, I just thought that taking like a fast-paced techno style song and putting in this fast-paced pan flute really made it something different and unique and memorable. Okay, but next up, we have Breaking Through Heart of Gold by Naoto Kubo featuring Jenny Kidd from Donkey Kong Bonanza.
I was scared alone when your beat showed the way to me. We're breaking through down to the core, no stopping us, not anymore.
This is nice.
It's not the kind of thing you would expect in a Donkey Kong game, and I think this was one that they revealed early on in one of the trailers, and it really kind of came out of nowhere, like made you think about this game differently than you might think about a Donkey Kong game, I feel like. Next up, we have Lagoon Lair by Naoto Kubo from Donkey Kong Bonanza.
You're speaking all the songs from that game, aren't you?
It has some really good songs.
No damn. I like it.
Yeah, that's the song from the first major area in the game, and it's kind of like your introduction to this big world. Next up, we have the main theme for Mario Kart World by Atsuko Asahi, Masa Miyoshi, Takuhiro Honda, and Yutaro Takakuwa from Mario Kart World, of course.
Interesting harmonica.
Yeah, when I think of video game music, I don't think harmonica, and that really sets this apart from everything else I heard this year, I feel like.
Okay.
And the final runner-up here, it's another Donkey Kong Bonanza theme. This one is the Zebra Bonanza theme by Naoto Kubo featuring Jenny Kidd.
That's very funny.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
very different, but kind of fun and lighthearted. I really liked it. Anyway, that is the runners-up.
And the winner?
The winner for Best Song on a game on Nintendo Switch or Nintendo Switch 2 in 2025 is Fury Green by Kenji Yamamoto and Minako Hamano from Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. With Metroid Prime 4, this particular song comes from the first major area after you exit the tutorial area. And it's kind of your introduction to the world of this game. And for this brief moment, you're hearing this song. It's got some tonal references to earlier in the Metroid Prime series, but it's got this kind of almost peaceful vibe to it, but a bit of mystery to it. And it's kind of crystallizing in this moment the potential that this game has to explore this beautiful, strange, alien, dangerous new world. And for this brief moment, the game is just perfect. It is exactly what I want out of a new Metroid Prime game. And then it goes on to ruin that feeling later on, but at least for this brief moment, this is exactly what I wanted from Metroid Prime. It's so brimming with potential. It feels absolutely perfectly right. It's a shame the game couldn't hold on to that feeling, but I'm not getting into that now because right now, this song made for the perfect moment in a video game in 2025, I feel.
Next up is Best Sound Design, and this is an award for all the audio in a game that isn't music or vocals.
Yep.
So, who are the runners-up?
The runners-up for Best Sound Design are Symphonia, Time Flies, Please Touch the Artwork Too, Sorry We're Closed, and Donkey Kong Bonanza.
And the winner?
The winner for Best Sound Design is Hollow Knight Silk Song. I keep getting impressed with the sound in Silk Song. There are other things about the game that I'm less thrilled about, but the sound design is absolutely top notch. As you're walking around, your footfalls on the ground differ in the way they sound based on what you're walking on. Little things, as you pass them in the environment, you'll hear your movement affect them. As you pass by cave openings, you'll hear echoes of things going into that area of the map that kind of give you a sense of what you might expect to find there. And one thing that I was really astounded by is when the music cuts out in the game, you can actually hear the air flowing through the environment, and it sounds differently depending on where you are, giving every space its own different feel. And that kind of attention to detail is absolutely impeccable. I cannot compliment it enough. They did a magnificent job with it in this game.
Next is Best Voice Acting. So, is this the game with the best voice acting, just like last year?
I kind of planned on doing things a bit different this year because there were so many individual voice performances that I really wanted to highlight. So these are all going to be those individual performances.
All right, so who are the runners-up?
The runners-up for Best Voice Acting are Jenny Kidd as Pauline in Donkey Kong Bonanza, Sally Beaumont as Fia Quinn in Old Skies, Colin Farrell as the narrator in Gloomy Eyes, Lewis Pullman as Isaac in Goodnight Universe, and Judy Alice Lee as Melinoe in Hades 2.
And who is the winner?
The winner is Amelia Tyler as Hecate in Hades 2.
Interesting.
So you might recognize the name Amelia Tyler
Maybe.
because she provided the voice of the narrator in Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, okay.
Now, here, I felt she gave a really amazing, nuanced performance that walks a very thin line. She plays kind of a mentor figure in this game, a mentor with a mysterious past, let's say. And it's not entirely clear kind of what direction this character is going to go. Like, is she the benevolent mentor who's really genuinely trying to help you? Does she have some ulterior motive? She kind of threads that line where it's like you're not entirely sure what her deal is. And I feel like the voice performance really, really embodies that, to where you feel like there's a kindness coming from her, but she also has a purpose that she's working toward. And it's not clear where she's going to fall on that line. And I think that's all down to the voice actress, who did a really great job here.
Next up is Best Graphical Style.
As I've said in previous years, these are games that, whether or not they're technically impressive, they have a visual style that is really amazing, unique, enhances the game it's in, just all around visually looks great, even if it's not necessarily technically great.
And the runners up are
The runners up for Best Graphical Style are 30 Birds, Symphonia, Dear Me, I Was, Momodora Moonlit Farewell, and Blippo Plus.
and the winner.
The winner is Hollow Knight Silk Song. So I was talking earlier about how the game has kind of a cartoony style for its characters. They're very simplistically drawn. And that might lead you to think that this will be a cartoony looking game, but I feel like it's anything but. And first of all, that starts with the fluid animation for its characters. But more than that, the environments are incredibly detailed. There's this really great depth to all these areas that you're looking at, and a darkness to them. And there's so many little details, like the environment reacting to you as you're walking by it, just all sorts of little things that make this game absolutely beautiful to just drink in with your eyes. It's really great to look at. I think by this point, it's fair to say Hollow Knight Silk Song, even more so than the original Hollow Knight, is just an audiovisual feast.
Next is Best Graphics. And I guess now that the Switch 2 is out, this award doesn't need to be the looks good for a Nintendo Switch game award.
That's fair, but believe it or not, I actually do have a Nintendo Switch game on this list. It still has a little bit of life left in it, the Nintendo Switch, and who knows, maybe we'll still have it back again next year. I guess we'll see.
What are the runners up?
The runners-up for Best Graphics in a Nintendo Switch or Nintendo Switch 2 game in 2025 are Split Fiction, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Fast Fusion, Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition, and Guilty Gear Strive Nintendo Switch Edition.
And the winner?
The winner is Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Metroid Prime 4 was announced, I want to say 7 or 8 years ago, and it was originally announced as a Nintendo Switch game. To be sure, they did release it on Nintendo Switch, but they also made a Nintendo Switch 2 edition. And honestly, I feel like both of those games are the best looking games on those individual platforms this year. There are so many little details in the environment. There's, of course, by this point, we're all expecting little details like your visor fogging up when you get next to something that can fog it up, or raindrops falling on it, things like that. But it's just the amount of detail in the environments, the imagination that went into these environments, and then realizing them. On the original Nintendo Switch, the game looks magnificent. And then they go a step farther on Switch 2 and give a couple of different graphics modes, where you have one that goes up to 120 frames per second, and another one that goes up to, they say 4K resolution, but I think it's a bit lower than that if you take out the HUD elements. But in either case, this is a game that top to bottom looks absolutely amazing and really shows off what both of these game platforms are capable of.
Next up is Best Story, which I think is fairly self-explanatory. So, what are the runners up?
The runners-up for Best Story are Battlesuit Aces, Videoverse, Stories from Seoul, The Gun Dog, Old Skies, and Roger.
And the winner?
The winner for Best Story is Goodnight Universe. Now, you saw me playing a bit of this game actually pretty recently.
Yeah, you teared up.
I'm going to try and avoid spoiler territory here. But yeah, it has a pretty great ending, I felt. But just the story overall, I think, was really creative. And it started with a premise that honestly didn't interest me too much. But through really great characters and characterization, it really made me care about all of these characters. Even the main character's perspective, you're watching the game through the eyes of a baby, but it's like a super intelligent baby who has very deep and complex thoughts about everything that's going on around him and who and what he is. And I think that really makes this something special. I reviewed this game maybe a few hours into it while I was playing it. I felt like I had a good feel for it. But even after I reviewed it, I could not stop playing it until I got through the whole thing. And it's thanks to this amazing story.
Next up is Best New Character. So, who are the runners up?
The runners up for Best New Character are Sophia from And Roger, Lieutenant Commander Cassandra Quinn from Stories from Seoul, The Gun Dog, Barb from Be Brave, Barb, Vivi from Videoverse, and Fia Quinn from Old Skies.
And who is the winner?
The winner for Best Character is Isaac from Goodnight Universe. Again, I was just talking about this game just a moment ago, go figure. And again, I was talking about how great the characters are, and Isaac himself is a really wonderfully complex character, despite that he's a baby. Just the contemplative, deep thoughts that he has about himself and what he represents, what he needs to be in his life, or what he should and shouldn't do, definitely make it clear that this is more than a baby. And the way that it's performed, I feel like it's almost reminiscent of the baby character from Look Who's Talking, those old movies where they had voiceover over the baby. But where those movies really tried to play it up for comedy, this one goes for drama and is actually if a baby really could think like an adult about what was going on around him, what would he be thinking? What worries would he have? And I think this game really addresses that question in a mature way, and it's largely thanks to this wonderful main character that the game is built around.
All right, and that does it for day 2 of the eShopperReviews 2025 Game Awards. Thank you for listening, and please come back throughout the week of January 12th through January 16th, 2026 to see more awards announced. And remember, if you want to read about the games mentioned here, head to eShopperReviews.com. And if you enjoyed this content, please consider heading over to our Patreon page to support eShopper Reviews and gain access to even more content. Thank you again, everyone. This has been Jen Ip.
And Jake McNeil.
And we hope you've all enjoyed some good games this year.
Later.